Hello, guys. Welcome back to TFD. We're coming back with another one. And today we're diving into what Sophie Cunningham said about the Indiana Fever offense that has everybody talking. Now, I gotta tell you, what Sophie said really shouldn't be controversial at all. In fact, it's just common basketball sense. When you have a player like Caitlin Clark, your entire offensive system should run through her. That's not ego, that's how great teams are built. You build around your superstar, plain and simple. Think about it. When you have players like LeBron James, Stephen Curry, or Luka Doncic, the ball runs through them. They control the pace, they make the plays, and they elevate everyone around them. Caitlin Clark is in that same category of talent. So when Sophie Cunningham came out and said that, it made total sense. She mentioned that at times it did feel like the offense ran through Caitlin when she was on the court, but other times it didn't, and that's where things got confusing. You could see moments when Caitlin was off the ball way too much, and the Fever's rhythm just disappeared. But what really caught me off guard is the reaction Sophie got for simply saying what a lot of people have already noticed. She's being attacked, not just by the usual online critics, but surprisingly by some Caitlin Clark fans too. People saying she shouldn't be speaking on that, or she's making things messy. And I'm over here thinking, why not? Sophie was part of that team. She has every right to talk about what she experienced. She's not bashing anyone. She's explaining what's happening from an insider's perspective. And let's be real, some of this backlash isn't even about basketball. Some fans just don't like Sophie. Maybe because she's outspoken, confident, or even just because of how she looks. But that's not fair. She's allowed to have an opinion. And in this case, she's just speaking the truth. At the end of the day, Sophie Cunningham said what needed to be said. The Indiana Fever offense should run through Caitlin Clark. No question about it. That's not shade. That's strategy. And the hate Sophie's getting, that's just noise from people who don't want to face what's obvious on the court.
See Caitlin or like a healthy LeBron, wherever they go, that team will probably be above 500.
Yep. But
is that fair to say?
Yes, but I think that the reason behind that is because those types of athletes, they get to come into an organization, they have the green light and they can do whatever they want. Where that is very rare to get drafted and be able to control the whole system.
Right. Was CC making decisions like?
Yeah.
With it? Yeah.
As she should.
No way.
As she should. But I also think that they. Go
that's
ahead.
crazy. I didn't realize that. She's just young. I just didn't think that.
But when you have a generational talent like that, she should have a lot to say of the system. I also think when you have.
Okay, let's see these comments, because honestly, this is where it gets wild. So you heard what Sophie Cunningham said, right? She simply stated that if you've got a generational talent like Caitlin Clark, then yes, she should have a voice in some of these decisions. That's common sense. Every great team in basketball history has been built around its superstar. But somehow, that statement alone brought Sophie a wave of hate, and I still can't figure out why. Here we go, though. Just look at these reactions. Like, I'm so sick of Sophie, bro. Please get the hell on. Like, what? What did she do wrong? Yapping too damn much as usual. Come on, man. She literally said something that's obvious if you're paying attention. The system should run through Caitlin Clark. Everyone knows that. Yet people are acting like she dropped some huge controversy bomb. It's ridiculous. And then you've got comments saying she's brought too much heat on Caitlin with her antics. Wait a minute. This is the same Sophie Cunningham who physically stood up for Caitlin Clark when no one else on that team did. Every time the Fever got pushed around, Sophie was the one stepping in. She didn't hide, she didn't back down. Meanwhile, others disappeared when things got heated on the court. But now she's the villain for defending her teammate and saying something true? That's crazy. Then there's this other nonsense. People calling her too obsessed with Caitlin, saying she's too far up Caitlin's ass, like she's not even allowed to compliment her own teammate. Are we serious right now? She compared Caitlin Clark to LeBron James. That's praise, not obsession. That's respect for the generational player Caitlin is becoming. Let's be real here. Sophie didn't say anything disrespectful. She didn't cross any lines. All she did was show respect to a teammate and acknowledge that the Fever's offense should flow through their franchise player. That's leadership, not drama. So when I see people dragging her for this, I can't help but shake my head. Sophie Cunningham gave Caitlin Clark one of the biggest compliments you can give, putting her in the same sentence as LeBron James. And somehow that turned into hate fuel? Make it make sense, because right now, it doesn't. All right, let's break this down, because this one came straight from room 1408, and it perfectly captures the split we're seeing online. The comment says, "We love Sophie, but, just my opinion, she should give this a rest and stop talking about what goes on in the Fever locker room and doing it for podcast clicks. Come on, girl, stop it." Now, here's the thing. What is she supposed to talk about if she can't talk about her own basketball team? That's her job. That's her world. Sophie Cunningham plays for the Indiana Fever. Of course that's going to be part of her content. She's not leaking secret plays or exposing personal drama. She's talking basketball. And that's what fans say they want. Real insight from real players. Let's be honest. Every professional athlete who has a podcast, whether it's in the WNBA, NBA, NFL, or MLB, they all talk about their team, their games, their teammates, and the sport they live in. That's literally the appeal. You get an insider perspective. So to say Sophie shouldn't talk about the Fever on her show, that's unrealistic. Now, I get the argument that maybe active players shouldn't have podcasts. That's a fair debate. But Sophie isn't saying anything she's not allowed to. She's not breaking any rules. She's not disclosing private team issues. She's just speaking honestly about the offense and about Caitlin, who, by the way, she praised. She gave Caitlin credit for being the focal point of the team. That's not drama. That's respect. And yet somehow people twist it into she's clout chasing, she's mid, she cares more about her brand than basketball. That's wild to me, because this is the same Sophie Cunningham who shows up, plays hard, defends her teammates, and competes every night. If anything, she deserves credit for connecting with fans and growing the game through her platform. Yeah, maybe Sophie could give Caitlin a heads up before mentioning her name. Fair point. But come on, let's not act like she's out here starting fires. She's talking about what's obvious on the court. The offense runs through Caitlin Clark. That's just basketball reality. So no, Sophie doesn't need to shut up. She's allowed to speak her truth. And honestly, the WNBA could use more players with her energy, her voice, and her willingness to keep it real. I mean, wow. Just wow. Are these Fever fans talking? Because it sure sounds like it. You can tell when it's real fans in the mix, and these folks sound invested. I can literally write down the players I want back on this team, no hesitation. And she's one of them. You know why? Because she's the only one I trust to drop a bionic elbow if somebody tries to clothesline Caitlin Clark again. I'm not kidding. We all saw that game. Anybody else see the clip of them holding back Sophie when Marina Mabrey straight up slammed Caitlin to the ground? Sophie tried to get at her. That was wild. Like full-on fire in her eyes, ready to defend her teammate. You can't teach that kind of loyalty, man. That's what you need in a locker room. Then I start scrolling through the comments on social media just to see what the vibe is. And wow, some of these takes? Out there. Like, people acting like she's supposed to send written permission slips to everyone she ever mentions on her podcast? Seriously? Come on now. That's not how this works. It's a podcast. You're supposed to have conversations, talk freely, share opinions, debate things. That's literally the point of being on the mic. And let's be honest, it wasn't even her who brought up the topic in the first place. Her co-host steered it that way. So what, she's supposed to just sit there in silence? Nah, that's not realistic. If I had a podcast with a WNBA player, you best believe I'd be asking every question fans want to know. That's what people tune in for. Real talk, not PR answers. So yeah, All this backlash? Wild! People are reading too deep into stuff. Sometimes a conversation is just a conversation. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments. Should players have to pre-approve what they talk about on podcasts? Or is that just people being too sensitive? Appreciate y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because this conversation ain't over. See you next time. Peace.